What up, headbangers? How you doing? It's Robb, and welcome to the greasiest of all time. Today we're chilling with Jay of Endscape from the United Kingdom. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how the band got started?
So, I'm James J. Dodkins from Endscape. I'm the guitarist. The way it got started is a good question, actually. There's an interesting origin story. So, I used to play guitar in a band called Speed Theory that some people out there may remember. Most probably won't. But we stopped playing about like 11 years ago, maybe 10, 11 years ago. And not too long back, the bassist got in touch, like got us all together in a WhatsApp group and said, guys, like, do you want to do like a reunion show? And I was like, maybe, because we never really did a reunion show. We just sort of like fizzled out. And all the other lads were, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, all right, then let's do it. And I didn't really think anyone would care anymore after that amount of time. It was a couple of years ago now. So we get back together, we start playing again, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I do miss this. And then what happened was we put on the date, we billed it, Speed Theory's final show in the world ever. In like 3 days, it sold out. And we were like,
Wow.
oh, okay. So then the lads were like, well, we've got to put on another date. And I'm like, well, we can't though, because we've just said they're like, this is like the final one ever. And they were like, no, we'll do it the day before. And I'm like, all right then. So we do that. That sells out too. So we played two like sellout comeback shows, essentially comeback slash farewell shows. Not massive capacity, but like 150 cap venue, not massive, but still,
That's still
I didn't think
badass.
anyone would care after all these years. And mate, just getting back on stage in front of people, I was like, why have I not been doing this like for all those years? And literally from that moment, I was like, well, I'm going to put a new band together. And so I decided to sort of go hunting for a bunch of people that were a lot more talented than me. That's what I did.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah,
Um,
so I found Jake, who's the bassist and the producer as well. Jake introduced me to Josh, the other guitarist, who's like literally one of the best guitarists I've ever seen in real life with my own eyes in the world ever. And then Jake introduced me to Luke as well, the drummer. And then there's a weird story how I found Carl, the singer, which I can go into if you want.
yeah, feel free.
So I was we were going through like auditioning lots of different vocalists because we had like a really specific idea of what we wanted the band to sound like. And there were loads of like really good people in it, but it's just nothing was quite there. And I was getting to the point where I was thinking, "Fuck, I'm being too picky here." Uh, but I didn't want to like settle, and that sounds rude to them, but that's not the case. They were all wicked in their own way, just not quite right for what I was trying to do. And me and my wife were at a friend's wedding in Glastonbury. I'm sure you've heard of Glastonbury.
I can't wait till I perform the festival.
Yeah, man. I mean, so we leave the ceremony. In the distance, I hear a voice, the voice of an angel. And I'm like, that's the fucking voice I want. That's the voice I want for the band. But like, I couldn't go and explore where it was. So literally, for the rest of the day, I ignored my family and friends and everything. It was just on my phone, looking at every music event that was happening that day in Glastonbury, going through, seeing who the people were there, and then finally there was one event. It was like Glastonbury FM, like the local radio station, were hosting an outdoor acoustic something.
Oh,
All right, and
cool.
I went through that and I found a guy called Carl, and I went on his Facebook and I listened to his music. I was like, that's the guy. That's once I found him, and then I didn't get in touch with him because I was like, he's doing acoustic stuff. Like he's not going to want to join like a heavy rock band. He's not going to want to do that. So
Yeah.
I liked his page because his music was nice, and I went about my business. Went through a couple more vocalists, and then one. I was so close to finally settling, and I saw him post something on Facebook. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get into. I'm just going to see if he likes the idea. Turns out he played in metal bands before. He'd been a
Oh, wow.
vocalist in a metal band before. Some of his favourite bands in the world are Alter Bridge, Shinedown. And I was like, shit, why didn't I say something earlier? But it was the right time. Sent some stuff over to him. Turns out he lived like the complete opposite end of the country. That's fine, no worries. We got him down. This was before lockdowns and everything, auditioned, and literally immediately he left the room, and we all just looked at each other and was like, well, yeah, he's the one then. And yeah, so that's kind of how the band got put together. Of course, COVID's screwed things up a little bit
Oh, for
with
sure.
recording and everything. We've figured out how to record 100% virtually now, which was a bit of a challenge, but
Yeah, it's a weird concept because I mean, Tool's been doing it, I think, that way for a long time, but it's weird for
tool
like,
at all though. That you
yeah,
can,
right. Like they've been doing that way, but I mean,
they
I
probably just did it to be weird. They probably sat down and said, "What can we do to be more weird?" So you got, let's never meet. Whoa.
yeah, exactly. You're about to release a single this week. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it's our second single. It's called Validate Me. The song is about people that get addicted to social media and basically forego their real life for a fake online life. They become so enamored with the validation that they get from strangers online that they have never and will never meet, that they basically put their real life relationships aside and damage them for this fake reality that they've got. So it's our second single. We are going to be releasing one song a month this year.
Oh, cool.
So yeah,
That's a good way to do it.
yeah, man. We can't play, can we? We can't tour. We
No.
can't get
Yeah.
on stages. So we're like, well, fuck it, man. Why not
Yeah, I know.
actually
That's a wicked
spend the
idea.
time, put
It,
out
it,
as much as we can?
yeah, and I mean, it gives you a month in between each song. So it's not
Yeah,
like you're putting out a whole album and everyone's missing like half the album. They're not listening to it
yeah,
unless they buy it, right? And that's the worst part about it.
yeah, man.
That's cool. You guys are releasing it on by yourselves? Are you independent?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wi-
It's just us,
Wicked,
mate. Just us.
wicked quality. I definitely
Thank
I like the songs a lot. I showed him to my guitar player, and he's like, I was like, what do you have you heard of these guys? He's like, no, but I really like it. I was like, I do too. And he's like, you gotta also remember that music in the UK is a lot more contemporary than North America because ours is like sporadic. You guys like actually tend to write music that has structure and elements that you don't realize, really subtle underlining elements that kind of pop up every the third time you hear it, the fourth time you hear it. So I
yeah,
find that regions are a big area for writing and the
yeah.
difference in music because all my favorite bands are from the UK.
There you go.
My
We've
favorite
got a
band at
lot
the
of good
moment.
heritage here, haven't we, man? It's like we are the home of heavy metal. It's where it was invented, so it's in our DNA. Maybe
It
I don't
is,
know.
yeah,
Scientists did probably say otherwise, but as far as I'm concerned,
yeah.
DNA.
No, I think it's the mixture of the football, the beer, and the culture. It
Yeah,
definitely leads to a perfect blend for metal.
mate. I think it's probably just the weather, to be honest with you, because it's just
Yeah,
so miserable the entire time.
yeah,
What else have we got to do other than make sad songs and angry songs?
it's true. So we were doing a FaceTime with my guitar player's mom, and he was like, "No joke, we get sun 4 times a year." I was like, "Bullshit," and his mom's like, "No, 4 times a year." I'm like, "Man, that's crazy." Like yeah, I could see that being a factor for writing for sure,
Yeah,
and
man.
which why such good music comes out of the UK too. Your creation process, how do you guys go about it?
It depends, really. So usually, either me or Jake will come up with an idea, and it could just be a riff, it could be a chorus, it could just be an intro, it could be a beat, it could just be a something. We'll send it across to each other, so we won't work on it too much until everyone else has had a listen as well. And if it gets the green light, we work on it a little bit more. I mean, it's easier for Jake to be demoing stuff up because he's the producer as well. So his demos that he sends over sound like finished songs anyway, and it
Yeah.
puts mine to shame. So he's sending these like symphonic masterpieces, and I'm like sending something I've recorded on GarageBand across. But still, yeah.
I
So
totally
we
get it.
just say it again, man.
Oh, I totally get that. That's exactly how we do it too. I used to
Yeah.
be the producer for us, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm done with that.
So half the time I'm just like, dude, if you like, just you take it and you run with it. If you think it's cool, you do something with it. But we work on it, and I mean, sometimes we'll have a whole song and we'll send it over. So Validate Me, essentially Jake wrote the whole thing musically and sent it over, and then we added our tweaks. The song beforehand, Suffocate, I basically wrote the whole thing. Um, and then it's things like Josh gets involved, adds the leads, the fancy, impressive stuff that none of us can do. And then yeah, I mean, drums, they're programmed now. Of course, you know that's how it goes
Oh, really?
nowadays. Yeah, yeah. Because we can't get in a studio, can we, man? We can't.
No, and you guys don't have a. Well, you guys have a drummer though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he just
But
can't
yeah,
record it. Yeah, he just can't. Okay, yeah,
yeah. I imagine that's what he does in my head.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I was gonna say like I have a Roland electronic drum kit, and that's how I did our first EP because our drummer left, so I ended up having to play the drums for the whole
Yeah.
EP.
Well,
And
to be fair, he does have like an electric drum kit, so maybe he does that. Maybe he
yeah,
records
because
that.
you can get their VSTs or that are like actual drum sounds from certain kits, and you just plug it in, play your electric kit, and it sounds identical. It's pretty cool.
Maybe that's what he does. As far as I don't know, all I hear is the end result where I'm like, yeah,
You-
that sounds fucking
You're like,
good.
yeah, I'm banging my head. That's all that matters.
And then so basically we kind of get the music down. Then it goes to Carl to get some vocal melodies, but we try and like not put in too many leads before the vocals have gone on because we don't want him to, because of course it's not like metal with screaming and stuff where there's like no actual melody. There's melody to every
Mhm.
vocal delivery, so it's like it's just easier in the process to be like, look, we will write leads afterwards and synth leads, etc., to complement that rather than him having to fight against it in the mix. And then yeah, and then Jake presses magic producer buttons and it sounds dope. And then I'm always like, hey, put sub drops in everything, and he's like, oh, do I have to? And I'm like, yes. And,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's how we make music. If it were down to me,
Norman
it'd just be all
Norman's
sub drop.
our bass player, my partner for this for Enigma. He's watching this when it gets put up on YouTube, and he's gonna be like, "Yep, sub drops for everything."
Yeah,
'Cause
literally.
yeah,
If I could do it for every kick drum, I would. But
it
he's
would
like, no,
sound
that
so good.
actually,
It definitely floods it. I definitely think on the first of like every 4 bars, just like where you have that gnarly drop at the beginning
yeah,
of the phrase. So I definitely think certain elements like that are key, and I don't think they're really noticed by a lot of people unless you genuinely listen to songs, because you're like, some people are like, I don't know why my bass or my drop right there doesn't sound as full as everybody else. Well, you're
yeah.
lacking a sub. You're lacking that sub bass that just
Mm.
rolls the whole thing together.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like the only reason I used to listen to Job for a Cowboy was because they had sub drops all over the place. I was like, the music is fine. Sub drops. I'll
Hmm.
listen to it for that.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. What's been the biggest struggle so far over your music career?
Uh, I mean, with this band, the recording has been the difficulty. Be it like wanting to push forward with doing, not wanting to put everything on hold. Um, I mean, the biggest struggle in my entire music career. Damn, that's a. I don't know, man. Because like back in the day, so my old band, we played with some like pretty decent people. We played with people like Testament. We played with Arch Enemy. We played with In Flames.
Oh
Played
my
with El
god.
Nino. Toured with 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, you're like
Toured.
naming almost all my favorite bands right now. So
Well, there you go, man.
I'm like fanboying over here. I'm like, damn, dude, I'd love to meet Anders and play for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, we didn't get to meet him or hang out with him,
Yeah,
or anything, but still, I mean,
share the stage.
yeah, we played with Bring Me the Horizon back in the day when they were a deathcore band
That's awesome.
before anyone had heard of them.
Right
Um,
before Ollie went fucking superstar,
yeah, but
climbing
I
on
think
Coldplay's table and shit.
my as far as I remember, I don't. There's reasons why I don't remember a lot of what happened, and I'm sure you can probably guess what they are. But
Rockstar life.
I think our drummer had to like take him to like a local like CVS type place, but in the UK to go
Mhm.
and buy hairspray. And he was like, well, I need to go and yeah. So they went on a little journey together to buy hairspray.
Well, I mean, not many people get to do that, so that's kind of an honor.
That's what I'm saying. Man. Claim to
Yeah,
fame. My claim to fame is that my drummer in my old band went to a supermarket type place with Ollie Sykes
and bought hairspray.
and bought hairspray.
That is epic as hell. When COVID slows down and or disappears, hopefully, what's your guys' first thing to do besides a show?
And more shows. That's going
Yeah,
to be. But I'd
just
probably try and record a video for something because it's that again, that's been tough as well. It's with so the video that we were releasing with Validate Me, it's kind of a mixture of a lyric video and a playthrough video. Because what really, mate, what we didn't want to do was like do a full balls out performance in our homes and record it with our phones, and it just looked
Just
really
terrible. Yeah.
fucking shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we did like a playthrough style for it with lyrics. It's at the end of the day, it's visually interesting, and that's about all it needs to be right now. And I think people can forgive us if it isn't the best video in the world.
I
We
think
just
anybody will forgive it. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
we just wanted to put something out that people can watch with it and have that visual stimulation as well as whatever that word is for ears,
Yeah.
auditory.
Yeah. Auditory.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's weird because we definitely are in a visual world now. Like,
Yeah, man.
if you can captivate someone in that span of time, you've got them. But if you can't, good luck.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a weird concept how 15 years ago things were so different.
yeah, yeah.
I can't even imagine what it was like in the UK. It was probably just killer, the music scene, and then it just slowly over time, I think everywhere has slowly just declined. Venues shut down and have
Yeah,
less interest.
I mean, like, so we were MySpace big. That's when we were. But even back then, man, I think we like at our peak we had 36,000 MySpace friends or whatever the. It wasn't followers, but
Yeah,
that.
it was like
Um,
fans.
yeah, but still, mate, like translating that to people showing out to like a show, still hard, still incredibly difficult. Like back in the day to try and get people to show out to shows, especially when we were first starting out. Later down the line, it gets a bit easier. But yeah, I don't. I suppose technically, the music industry in the UK, the way it is now, I don't really think anybody really knows what it's like anymore because it's now all been atomized because of COVID. And we're really going to have to wait until things level out a bit to just to see what's left, to see what bands are left, to see what venues are left, to see it. Even just people like, for instance, if you were a sound tech and you've had to go and get another job, and you don't, it's just been decimated, and we're going to have to like pick up the pieces afterwards and just
Hmm.
see what we can cram back together. But of course, like, dude, you know, music will endure. Of course, it will, and it just might be a bit different for a while. I think there'll be a
Yeah.
lot of pent up, sort of pent up aggression that people are going to want. They're all going to want to get to shows, even if they're shitty shows. Doesn't they just want to get to a show? So that should be good. But mate, yeah, we can't wait to get out there and just
I know.
play the music because that's where it really comes alive in front of people. So
Yeah, you
we'll
can
see what
record
happens.
all you want, but the feeling of the lights hitting you and just looking out, and all you can see is the first couple rows of faces, and you just connect with them. There's it's like next level. It's like a drug almost. It becomes so addicting.
Yeah, man.
You can't help but just want more and more and more. And yeah, being declined all your shows for over a year is like fuck. It's torture.
Agreed.
Is what would if there was anything you could change in the music industry, what do you think it would be?
Probably the amount people get paid for streaming. It's
Yeah.
such a tough one because I know that people really look down on the streaming industry, but there are a lot of good points to it as well, which I think it's unfair to gloss over. The fact that back in the day, if you had $10, for example, and you go into your record store, you can only buy one album, and then that's the one that you listen to. Nowadays, we've got access to music. It's never been easier to get access to all of this music. So for a fan, it's good because it means that okay, rather than me buy one album, I can now listen to many different albums, and it means I can find music that I wouldn't have necessarily had exposure to before. It means I can find new favorite bands that I wouldn't necessarily have found exposure to before. But of course, the back end of it is to make it so attractive for fans to pay for those platforms. it means that the artist gets screwed out the other end, and
Mm,
it's it's difficult though, because the thing is, Spotify, for example, could be like, oh, okay, we're going to pay the artist 1 penny per stream, but then they'd have to charge what? How much to customers? I don't know the actual maths, but
mm,
probably a prohibitively an amount that would mean there would be enough customers that would leave and stop paying for it that they wouldn't be able to. It's a catch-22 situation, unfortunately, and I think
yeah.
it'd be a really cool thing if that could get figured out.
It'd be really cool to see just a different concept. Like I love the concept of streaming because I personally love being able to go and find new bands because that's like one of my favorite things. It's kind of why I started this is to find new emerging bands because they don't have that platform, and because I have an addiction to finding the newest bands. So it's kind of win-win for me.
Yeah,
But yeah, I definitely think that paying the artist is a key thing because how many are people are just loving these one hitters who people put out one song, make millions of dollars off of it, and then never put anything out. But you have these bands who've been working for 20 years
yeah,
and they're not getting anything from their streams. They're getting paid like 0.0000365 of a cent for a stream. I mean, $1 a stream would be nice, but it's I think it's a far shot goal right now.
mate. A dollar a stream. How much would you have to pay a month? $500 a month
Yeah.
to
Yeah, and
like.
that's the thing, right? Because it's not selling, it's streaming. So it's a really
Mm,
weird concept that we're in. And I think that's why bands are giving a lot more music away,
yeah,
just giving it away and then making their money off of touring and merch and
merch. Yeah, yeah,
creative content too. Because like if you get enough viewers on YouTube or you can monetize,
yeah,
and bands can make revenue that way. So every time somebody comes and looks at your music video, you make a couple of the dollars. So it sucks that you're not really making money off of your music per se anymore
yeah. It's
versus
like the
a
music is
product.
the thing that gets people through the door, and then which is it's, mate. I got to be honest with you though. Back in the day, we made most of our money from merch,
Mhm.
like because of course, even an album in the store. So the label take their cut, distribution take their cut, the store takes their cut,
Yep.
management take their cut, and then the people that actually have created it are left with whatever's left over, and it's still a relatively small amount of money
Yeah, I think it's like 10% of the whole cost, if
if
that.
you're lucky. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's super
And
sad.
so even then, and of course, it's weighing up that okay, do I want more money per album or per song, or do I want more people to hear it? Now, if you want more money, the traditional way still exists,
Hmm.
but you're not actually necessarily going to make any more money because maybe 5 people are going to buy your fucking album.
Yeah,
Whereas
unless you're
if
doing
it's,
vinyl,
well, yeah,
and
that's a different story.
yeah, and then you're paying like I think it's like 2 grand for 100 vinyls or something like that. Like it's really hard to make your money back if you're doing vinyl.
Yeah,
It's like I mean, there's places that do it for cheap, but you want
yeah, but
quality
if you're going to do vinyl,
artwork
you
and
can't.
you
Yeah,
can't go cheap, right? You have to have
exactly.
genuine.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So as much as we like to bitch and moan about streaming, it is allowing people to discover you as a band. It's allowing people to actually listen to their music. Because if it was the old way, where you had to buy, you had the choice between buying this new band's album that you've never heard of or Metallica's new album. You're going to buy Metallica's new album, and you're going to put the money into their pockets. Maybe
Yeah.
not you, but the average fan.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's what they're going to do. Now they can listen to both,
Yeah.
and it gets you out there, but it just means that we have to adapt and we have to have a different business model, basically. And that means that the the music is the free thing that you give them to get them through the door, and you have to figure out how to make money on the back end, whether it be through merch, whether it be through sponsorship, whether it be through um, content,
Mhm.
so it's I don't think the only thing I'd change with it is trying to figure out how to get more per stream. But I wouldn't go back to. I've experienced both ways. Not too much with this because we're a brand new band,
Mhm.
but I've experienced both ways, and I do prefer this way.
Yeah, I definitely like streaming. I'm not a person who hates on it. I don't. I think music is created from the soul that can be given for free, and I think touring is where bands should be. making their money. That's how I've always thought. Because
Yeah,
I mean, you can make a press an album all you want, but the amount of people who are actually going to pay for it in reality, they're very slim unless you have dedicated fans. But with a flooded market, it's hard to have dedicated fans because they have so many people they can go to.
yeah,
If your album's $5 and somebody's selling it for $4, well, you're not making any money because that $4 is going to get it.
yeah.
So,
But dude, that's a good point, because of course the upside to basically anyone being able to get access to your music is that anyone can also release music. Making music has never been easier. Distributing music's never been easier. So the market, as you say, is saturated. There's
mm-hmm,
just so much new music, and that's good,
mm-hmm,
unless you're in a band. Because then you're like, it's having to fight through the noise.
yeah,
And it's again, it's then having to find new inventive ways to get that attention so you can show people. So it's like, I'm trying to give you my music for free. Okay, you can have it for free, but then you've got to try and get their attention and prove why they should have it for free. It's just all these little extra
yeah.
hurdles.
It's like being like giving a song away like 10 years ago for free was like, oh my God, I'm stoked. And now it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, was so what else are you gonna give me?
yeah, yeah.
Like, I get my burger for free, but where's my fries, bro?
Essentially, yeah. That is exactly
Yeah.
how it is.
No, it's a cool concept. The streaming, I think things are changing too with independence. Like look at bands like While She Sleeps, and they take everything on themselves, and they're 100% independent. And I mean, that's killer. They're doing amazing for themselves, and the music they write is so true. And they're so true to their music. It's a cool thing to see. And I definitely think that COVID will weed out a lot of the bands that have saturated the market
Yeah,
because they had
maybe.
that quick, maybe that quick like YouTube fame, or they got caught on Instagram, but it was just for that split moment. But because the market's so flooded and they're the popular ones that just continue to carry on, I
Mm.
think once they stop putting content out that actually matters, or to see if they stop putting content out, will be a big deciding factor for them.
Yeah, 100%, man. And like talking about independence as well, it's a really interesting topic, because of course back in the day, labels would find undiscovered talent, and they'd put money into them, and they'd grow them, they'd nurture them as an artist.
Hmm.
But nowadays, record labels don't want that. Record labels want like a finished package. They want it with a bow on top.
Yeah, they don't want to do any of the work.
Yeah, exactly. They want you to already have a fan base, already have a back catalogue, already have your own style, your own brand, engaged fans, big social media presence. Can't
Hmm.
they want you to have it all, and then but there's a lot of, not just in rock music, not just in metal. There's artists in the hip hop world, in the rap world, in the grime world in the
Hmm.
UK, where they're getting to that stage where labels start sniffing around. They go, "Oh, you're now big enough that we care," and they're going, "You know what? I got this far by myself. I'm not now going to let you take the reward for the hard work that I've put in." So there
Yeah.
is this whole, like, almost like a revolution of independent artists that are saying "fuck you" to record labels when they're coming in there saying, "Okay, we're now going to profit off of your hard work." They go, "No, no, no." But that is the good thing about streaming. That is the good thing about being able to make music. If you got a computer and you got GarageBand, you can make a song. That is what is so cool about things like DistroKid and TuneCore. Just being back in the day when we wanted to put out music, we had to sign a fucking distribution deal.
Hmm.
And whereas now,
Yeah.
anyone can make music, anyone can put it out there. We are now in control of this, and it's shifted, and it's the label's fault. They
Hmm.
created this. This is the world that they created. This is the world that they wanted,
Hmm.
and now it's screwing them.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you can see it definitely with where it started with Radiohead and 30 Seconds to Mars with their lawsuits with their record labels. It was a
yeah,
huge thing with two major bands that are so influential to be able to be like, you know what? No, we're dropping a record label and we're doing it ourselves.
yeah, man,
I think it was a great push because we definitely need the independence. I think once we have that independence too, once we've taken that freedom and gotten our freedom, like taken our power back with our music, I think the revolution will start where independent artists will be able to make that money again, but it'll
yeah,
be in a different factor, in a different way, because we'll create it and it won't be the here's the structure that everything has to be under. We're gonna break that and be like, no, like it's like our music. There is no boundaries to what an artist can do, because we're not just musicians, we're artists. Where we paint pictures with our lyrics and our music, and we create music videos and t-shirts and album covers. Like, I think musicians are some of the most well-rounded artists on the planet, and the most underrated, because everyone loves music, you know. In times of struggle, you listen to music, but no one wants to pay the artists like $5 for 5 bands, and people are like, yeah, it's too much.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
It's $5 and 5 bands. Like, it's $1 a band. Come on. Is there
So
anything?
where are you in the US?
No, we're in Canada.
Oh, in
We're
Canada. Sorry,
Yeah, we're
whereabouts
from
in Canada are you?
about like 4 hours away from Vancouver.
Okay, I
Yeah,
used
so
to
we're in
spend a lot of
BC.
time in Edmonton.
Yeah, we're about, I think it's like 16 hours from where I am to Edmonton. I went there on tour.
Cool
And
place. Hang on.
yeah, no,
There you go. Let's go Oilers.
right,
That's what I'm
right.
saying, man.
That's funny. Is there anything you want to say to the viewers before we wrap up?
Check out the song if you like it. Fantastic. Like us and follow us on all the platforms. It's at Endscape Band. If you don't like it, fuck you.
Yeah. No, we'll put all the links for everything in the description, and we're gonna bump it up so that your episode comes out before Friday when your release
Legend.
is.
Thank you so much for that, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get on that right away after this, and we'll get that up, and I'll send you the link.
Sweet.
All
How
right,
was that?
bro.
Was that
Pardon?
all right?
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome, man. Thank you.
No worries. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. In a bit, man.
Okay.